What's going on, guys? I'm back with another one. And I just watched a movie called Strays, starring Will Ferrell, Will Forte, and Jamie Foxx. All the Wills are here. All the Wills are in this movie. Maybe even Will Smith. No, we don't want him in this movie. We don't want him in a lot of movies right now. First of all, in the honor of Kings of Comedy, I bring you Dogs of Comedy. All right? And what I mean by this, I'm not talking about Benji, Lassie, Beethoven. I'm not talking about those corny dogs, man. I'm talking about dogs that were put in these rated R comedies and made us laugh for the first time. All right? Dogs that really made us see things from an adult side of what dogs go through. And they just don't get enough praise. They don't get the praise they deserve, man. To be honest with you. Okay? In 1987, Married with Children came out. All right. And this particular dog was Buck Bundy. We get to hear all of Buck Bundy's thoughts throughout the entire series. And he thought just like a Bundy. He belonged in that family. He really did. All right. He was definitely blood. He was definitely related to this family. All the messed up, depraved thoughts that he thought. He was a very depressed dog. He had issues. But no one else could hear him talk but the audience. So we felt his pain. All right. Then in 1989, we had K9 and Turner and Hooch. I'm doing a versus on this one because they are pretty much the same dog. All right. They came out in the same year. A lot of copycat going on here. All right. Only difference is Hooch, I guess that's the dog's name, I guess. He was just a disgusting dog. Nasty, slobbered all the time. Messed the man's house up. That's all I can remember from the movie, that he messed the man's house up a lot. And he got in between his relationship. Just the other one too. But this one, it was worse. It was worse because he's just a nasty dog. He's gross. I'd rather have K9, which is not his name. It's really Jerry Lee Lewis or something like that. That's stupid. Okay, that's stupid for a dog's name. So I'm calling him K9. I'd rather have K9 as a pet dog. Even though he almost is the same thing, just different breed. He didn't slobber all over the place. Okay? Something tells me Hooch smelled worse. All right. Then in 1998, Half Baked came out. Not going to go into too much detail about what this movie's about. Can't really do that. Just know there's a dog named Killer in this movie. All right. And Killer, somebody killed Killer B. All right. A famous line, because Killer really didn't even make it throughout the movie. He got killed. And his origin story about him was the funniest thing. One of the funniest things in the movie. Okay. There was another one before that. Not as interesting. The second one was hilarious. See how he was a fighter and he had to fight his brother and he didn't want to fight his brother. So he killed his brother, which had nothing to do with his death, I don't think. Okay? Nothing at all. Which made it hilarious. Okay? Then in that same year, Something About Mary came out. The dog in question with this one, Puffy. The thing with Puffy is Ben Stiller's character had no earthly idea what he was in for. He thought when he went to the girl he was trying to pursue's house and her roommate and whatnot, and there was a dog banging behind the bathroom door, locked in that bathroom, trying to get out. He had no idea how big the dog was. It was a little runt making all that noise. And he asked, who's making all that noise? I think he kind of thought it might have been a bigger dog, but he still went for it, and he got what he does. He got what he asked for. Okay. Then in 2002, Van Wilder came out. All right, the dog in question here, Colossus, bulldog. All right, Colossus was not one of your cleanest dogs in the world, kind of like Hooch. All right, but they used him for a little weapon to go against the fraternity that they didn't like. And the thing they did with Colossus, I can't get into detail what they used from Colossus's body to make the cream for the kolaches they were going to feed the fraternity. But it turned out to be extremely funny. I laughed so hard. If you're not into just messed up humor like this, it's not for you. It's not for you. I'm just being honest with you. You're not going to like it. But just to find out what they used from the dog, oh, God. Bro. I'm not going to say too much more about that one, okay? Moving on. In 2012, The Campaign came out. Another movie starring Will Ferrell. All right. And this one, we're focusing on the pugs of his opponent. These dogs were just horrible. They were just useless, and they breathe hard. I understand that pugs have bad health most of the time, but they really focused on that in this movie. And he tried to explain that pugs used to be used to fight lions and all that. And Will Ferrell's like, yeah, I find that hard to believe. But actually, that is in history. That is said in history. But look at them. And then there weren't lions in China. That's where they came from. There were no lions in China. So I'm kind of questioning that history. All right. And now we have the dogs from Strays. And my question is, will these dogs become just as iconic as the other dogs I just mentioned? We're about to find out. Let's go. Strays, for those who don't know, for those who are not aware, if you don't know about Strays, man, you don't like dogs. You're a dog hater. You're a cat. You're a cat person. Yeah, that's what you are. You're a cat person. Ugh. Man, a lot of people are gonna hate me for this one. I don't even own a dog, but I'm still a dog person. Okay. So you're a cat person. You're on that side of the fence. We're at war. All right. Don't play me. You know about this movie. Do not play me. Strays. It's pretty much about a dog named Reggie. All right. And he thinks his name is something else. We won't get into that right now. But he's owned by one of the worst owners ever. Doug. This guy. Yeah. And Doug just treats him so horrible. But Reggie thinks that Doug is just one of the best people in the world. And he loves him so much. And he plays this game with him called Fetch and F. Where he sends him out all the way away from the house, throws a ball, makes him go get it. By the time he turns around, Doug has already ran the hell off. Okay. And we all know what Doug's doing, but apparently Reggie doesn't know what's going on. Okay, so I'm getting the names wrong, but whatever. Reggie doesn't know what's going on. And he somehow makes his way back home. All dogs are able to do that, right? Until one day, Doug sends him on a very, very, very far trip from the house. A little too far. Because he was definitely trying to get rid of his butt. And Reggie slowly realizes, but he doesn't want to admit it, that he just got majorly neglected, and that maybe Doug doesn't love him so much. And so he bumps into this dog named Bugs, played by Jamie Foxx, All right, Jamie Foxx kind of schools him to the streets as being a stray, meets two other dogs, and they go on these hilarious adventures throughout the movie. And then all of a sudden, Reggie realizes he wants to go back and plot revenge on his ex-owner by biting one of the things he loves most in life. I'm not going to say it. It's painful to say what he's going to bite off, all right? And that's the mission and the plot to the movie. Positives. This was the first time we actually got to see, from a dog's point of view, an adult content. And I appreciate that so much. It really beats out the Beethovens and the Lassies and the Benjis and all the other dogs that were just became a cheesy, just a stereotype. All right. Air Bud too. Air Bud, you're corny too. All right. But finally we get some dogs who are not so corny. All right. And you get to see what dogs really would be going through, what they really think. And it's all through the eyes of these strays on the street. Okay. And what else other movie to watch but this? When you want to see something really that's really going to go down and how dogs are really going to react. Well, not all the way through, because some of that stuff is still a little unrealistic. Yeah, for a movie that with dogs talk. Yeah, but I just like the point of view from which it came. All right, this is stuff that dogs really would do. You know, most of it, stuff they really would think about, stuff they really would have on their mind. If we could hear them talk through their minds, they would think this, not the other cheesy stuff. Because there's been other movies, PG movies, where dogs talk through their brain or their mind, their mental, and they're not saying the stuff they're saying in this movie. All right, and so I very much appreciated that. Another positive. The sick humor. I really enjoyed the sick humor in this movie. All right, from the group poo session they had later on. That's a little part of the movie you need to check out. All right, just the jokes. There's a knock knock joke in this movie. All right. And the female dog is trying to present it. And the other dogs, it's funny because it's the same thing that happens when somebody knocks at your door and you have a dog. All right, what's the first thing that happens? They bark at the door. They start barking every time a new guest comes in. So when she's trying to say the knock knock joke, they constantly keep barking instead of saying who's there. And it's just amongst that, there's other parts in this movie where like it kicks in that because dogs they don't really have a level or a barrier of what they're going to hump, and so the Bug, the one that's played by Jamie Foxx, he's on everything. He has this little couch he likes to hump. And he has a name for it and everything, bro. And he teaches Will Ferrell's dog how to do the same thing and how to claim his territory. And it's interesting. It's really interesting how all these levels of what a dog really would do is broken down. It goes right back to the first positive in this movie, which is you're seeing this through a dog's eyes. Okay, so it makes it even funnier. All right, let's see what dogs would do on mushrooms. Okay, on some bad shrooms or whatever the hell in this movie. That's what they did with those dogs too. All right, and yeah, you see it in the trailers as well. So it's not a spoiler. Yeah, but that whole scene was crazy. Could have been a little crazier, but we'll get to that in a minute. Is how the owners treat the dogs. That's another thing. How the dogs not knowing that there's such thing as a electric collar You'll see a little bit of that in this movie too. Okay, they don't understand the concept of that. it's the humor, creative. The humor is very creative. I'll give it that. Last, positive. The different relationships between the dogs and the owners. All right. I'll start off by saying this. Bugs and Reggie, they didn't really have, Bugs didn't have an owner at first, but we won't say anything more about that one. Let's just say that Reggie had an owner and now he's a stray, and relationship between him and his owner was horrible. He didn't see it that way, but it was horrible. And in a way, they kind of, in a sick way, deserved each other, because they weren't the best winners in life on both ends. They weren't really winners. But at the same time, Reggie still didn't deserve that treatment. I understand that. Then you had the female dog. She kind of got dropped to the wayside because there's a new puppy in town, all right, who's cuter, younger, and just more adorable, and the owner just kind of took to her. Then why would you keep the other one still around? That doesn't make any sense. Sell the dog. But that was an interesting concept to look at. Like, yes, other dogs will be neglected when a new dog comes in. It's sad and sick, but it happens. It happens. He shouldn't do that, but it happens. And then there was the cop dog. He just couldn't he wasn't good at his job that he used to do, and now he has this big thing around his neck all the time. Okay, so he was just in a pickle there. He's such a big dog, and yet he's so scary. And I guess they just couldn't use him on the force anymore. And now he's taking care of old people. And his whole fate is a little sad, but you got to take the reins. You got to get up and take initiative, man. All right, even as a dog, you got to take some kind of initiative. Grab them. You know what I'm talking about. Grab those and walk tall, bro. You're already a big dog, man. Come on. And now we have to get to the negatives. All right. My first negative in this one is the humor. Even though it was sick and creative in a way, it wasn't funny past the shock value of just knowing these are dogs doing this and so on and so on. There are parts in this movie where it could have been a whole lot funnier than what it was. They really ran his whole plan of biting something off into the ground. They said that so many times to try to keep playing back on the jokes of that and whatnot. And there's this scene in the movie where, I get it. I get the joke. The dogs, when dogs lay down, they kind of make a circle and then lay down. But they wore it out so bad, and it was not funny. It was not funny at all. It fell flat. It really fell flat. There were a lot of jokes that actually fell flat. All right, and they just could have did a little better on. And in that process, it kind of messed the plot up a little bit. Not the plot, but it made the plot kind of like it just kept running. It was running for no reason. I was like, oh man, is this gonna go somewhere? Because you're just trying to stack up a bunch of bad jokes, along with the fact that they're dogs doing crazy stuff, which is the only part that really pulls you in as far as the humor. And it gets tiresome. It gets tiresome after a while. Not gonna lie. All right. Next negative. Why did the owners of the girl dog and the cop dog not go looking for them? All right. Now, the cop dog, I can kind of understand. Maybe the old people they were taking care of, they forgot the dog was there, or didn't really, they're elderly people. So I can understand that. But didn't they work for a company or something? I didn't get that. And then the female dog, she had an actual owner. Now I know the owner wasn't the best owner in the world, but she's going to realize her dog is gone. For days, She was gone for days. Nobody went looking. And then there's a part at the end of the movie where, I'm not going to get into too much detail on that one either. But let's just say she should have had a lot of questions when she saw what she saw. The owner should have had a whole lot of questions when she saw what she saw at the end of that movie. She didn't even question. She didn't ask why or how did this happen. She just, I like the, I was like, man, she can't be that dumb. No, that's not stupidity. That's bad plot. That's bad script right there. Really bad script. You just wrote that real quick. All right. Another negative. Doug was an idiot, and not in a funny way. I'm talking about the owner of Reggie. He was the worst. I think we got us in a long time. We got us another great trip. I haven't had to say that word in just a long time, and I'm saying it again. Doug was a great trip. Yes, he was unbearable, but he was needed for this movie. But in this case, I think it fell more to the negative side of things than it being a great thing that he was a horrible person. But he made decisions that were just brainless. They were definitely smooth brain decisions. You get my drift. Okay, there's a point where I'm not gonna get too much into the detail of the end, but let's just you know Reggie comes back for his revenge. But there's a part where Reggie looks like he's going to walk out of the house, and Doug slams the door. If you wanted him gone, if you wanted Reggie gone so bad, why didn't you let him walk out the door? Which is what he was doing. It's so dumb and doesn't make sense at all. All right. Once again, I understand this is a movie about dogs that talk, but honestly, they're just talking in their heads. They're not really talking. Okay. So, and then there's other parts of the movie where, okay, Doug, let's think about this. If you really wanted to get rid of this dog, you can always just send it to a adoption care or whatever kind of center you send dogs to that you don't want anymore, or sell it to a friend. Oh, that's right, he doesn't have friends. Well, there's just somebody out there. It ain't gotta be your friend. It don't have to be your friend. Just sell it to somebody. Sell a dog to somebody. All right? Not the option you chose over and over again. It's dumb. It didn't make sense. Why would you do this? Then I also understand it wouldn't be a movie. He didn't do it because if you'd have done there still could have been a movie. If you'd have sold the dog would have just ran from them and tried to get back to Doug. See how that works? See how much sense that would make? But I guess they wanted to make people laugh about the situation of that, which you made Doug look like an idiot. Not in a good way. It wasn't even funny. All right, not that part. What the hell? Last positive. Why couldn't the other animals talk? Why couldn't we hear the other animals talk? There was a bird in here, or eagle or something, that we saw subtitles for it, but we couldn't hear it talk, really. Not like the dogs talked. I wanted to hear the cats talk. Cats were in this movie. Cats are in this movie. That was a big opportunity to have the cats have a little conversation with the dogs, even though they might not understand each other in the same way. Well, the audience can understand you, and that's all that matters. I understand it's all about the dogs, but come on, mix it up a little bit. You don't have to make it a Dr. Dolittle movie, but at the same time, I wanted to hear more of a variety of animals and what they would sound like in this movie, in an adult type animal movie. Okay, so I'm gonna have to give this an I. Yeah, I'm giving this movie an I. It's a comedy. I want to get in there and laugh. It made me out of shock a couple of times. Gotta do a little better than that. Like, share, and you better subscribe.